Hey there, and welcome to this week's Music Career Study Group. My name is Kevin. I'm flying solo today, so you're just going to get me. But today we are talking about 20 TikTok and Reels ideas to promote your music. See, there it is, right there. But before we get to all of that, while people are joining the live stream, feel free to say hi in the comments. Let people know where you're watching from. And we get people from all over the world watching the live stream. So it's great to hear where artists are watching from. So give us a shout out. We've got Malia watching from Pasadena. And like I said, 20 TikTok and Reels ideas to promote your music. So we're going to be diving into just a bunch of ideas to help you think of creative things to do to engage with your fans around your specific song release. Because I know a lot of times we have a new song and we are wondering, all right, how do we promote this? I mean, I posted a video once. What do I do to get some repeat action and activity on this video and interest in the song? And so we're going to give you lots of ideas today. And if you've had a video or an Instagram reel, a TikTok video, or even a YouTube short that's worked really well for promoting your song, feel free to drop a link in the comments. That only works if you're watching on YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook, I don't believe it allows for links in the comments, but on YouTube it does. So if you're watching on YouTube and you've had an Instagram reel, YouTube short, or a TikTok video that's really worked to help promote your song, definitely drop it in the comments so we all can see. I'm going to be sharing a few videos as well. Again, you're watching the Music Career Study Group. We've had more people jumping in, so feel free to say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, and we're going to get started. So here we have it. 20 TikToks, talk and Reels ideas to promote your music. Again, I'm flying solo today. I don't have my normal co-pilot with me, so forgive me if there's a few technical details missed, because I'm manning it all today by myself. So we're just gonna before we dive in, I should say, I want to remind you that if you got a song that you are releasing, ReverbNation does music distribution. A lot of even longtime ReverbNation users don't realize that we do full service music distribution. You can distribute a song for $1, or if you are a premium member, which means you get access to the full suite of marketing tools, that version of the membership comes with unlimited music distribution. So definitely check it out. It's great, quick, easy, simple music distribution. And if you need help, we respond to your emails rather quickly. Also, if you didn't hear the news, we've launched a new program called ReverbNation Levels, where it's financial backing, career support, and personalized services for independent artists. You can head over to levels.reverbnation.com to apply. This is a free service we're launching, but it'll unlock things like release promotion and marketing help, some strategy, some planning services, some advances, whether it's advance for your release or some tour support, or we have some sister companies that are musician brands as well, guitar companies and such. So there could be like musical gear advances. So head on over to levels.reverbnation.com and check that out, and feel free to apply if you feel like your career is at that point where you need help leveling up to the next level in your career. All right, so 20 TikTok and Reels ideas. Like, why are we talking about this? I mean, obviously we all have music that we want to promote on these platforms, and for starters, unengaging content, things that aren't working, it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of your time to be spending time and effort, energy, and sometimes money doing things that aren't going to get any sort of results with your fans. And or there's also the things that we love to hate them, the algorithms that if people aren't engaging with the content, it's not going to show it to most of the people that follow us anyway. It can be a bad look if the content's unengaging, and it, like I just mentioned, it can ruin your reach out there, just being able to reach the people that say, hey, I want to see your content. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, when you have engaging content, you can unlock the beauty of these social networks, which can be free reach, really far-reaching, far reach with your music that you couldn't have gotten otherwise. It's great branding, and what's that last thing? It says, I can't. There's a thing on StreamYard that's covering what that last bullet point is. I apologize. You can read it and see it. Oh, there it is. Fans lean in. I figured out how to remove it. Fans lean in, and engagement drives more engagement and excitement and energy. And when people engage with one piece of content, they're going to see more of it, and more people are going to take note of what you're doing. And ultimately, the whole point of this is we want people to check out our music. We want them to listen. We want them to go follow us on Spotify, listen there, maybe go to our website, buy some merch. And all of that is geared towards just creating that fan connection that makes people want to know more about what we're doing. Again, we've had more people jump on. This is the Music Career Study Group. If you're just joining me, I should say us because there's people watching. Say hi in the comments. I know there's a lot more of you watching than Malia, but Malia, I appreciate your participation. You get A+ for participation. Hey, Ian is watching from Vermont. I was just hanging out with Ian at the Folk Alliance conference last week in Montreal. I am back home in the Portland, Oregon area, where it is actually sunny and far warmer than it was in Montreal, which was like 10 degrees, which is way too cold. All right. So we're going to start off with number one. I said there's going to be a list of 20. So we're going to power through them quickly. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you've had a video work well for a song you were promoting, feel free to put it in the comments so we can all see it. You have to do that on the YouTube version of this live stream. It won't work on Facebook. And also, we should have time at the end for just general questions if you have questions about music marketing or music distribution in general. So here we go. So number one, a POV with your song, make it relatable. And I've got a link to one of those. I'm going to drop in the comments so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me know if that doesn't work for you. So the POV, it's an example. You just found your new favorite song, but can't remember the name. Make it relatable and use on-screen text to create an emotional connection. So you can see let me know if that video worked. Anyone who's watching, if that link worked, because I've got more links, and it'd be disappointing if I keep dropping links and they don't work, but I'm pretty sure they work in the YouTube version of the live stream. So if you're not clicking on it, it just shows a band. They're in a studio and it's the actual track playing, but it's like POV, you wrote the summer song of 2024, those kind of things. So it's like, yes, I'm hearing that the link in YouTube is working, and we've got Leah who reported on it. Thanks, Leah. And then Charlie is watching from the UK. Thanks for joining again, Charlie. And Espani, thanks for confirming it works as well. Oh, it worked in Facebook. Sometimes when you post it in Facebook, I don't know what the qualifications are. It doesn't necessarily work. Oh, we've got Ray watching from Oxnard as a part of Malia's music marketing class. Thanks for joining us. Extra credit for you. So just making it relatable. Like, we see a lot of those POV type videos. Just use your song. It's a way to just draw your song into a situation that isn't necessarily saying, hey, I just dropped a new song. We're going to go through this list quick. So if there's any questions on any of them, let me know. So the next one up, the use this sound if. So use this sound if you've ever felt, and then add an emotion related to your song. I've seen this work very well. It could be a happy song. And I think this what makes this work is a lot of the things that make short form video on all these platforms work well is that there's some sort of visual hook. So if someone's like jumping up and down excited right from the beginning of the video and your song's playing, the hook of your song's playing and it's exciting, fun pop song, it fits the moment. So it's the idea of trying to portray the emotional moment of the song and draw the connection to the visuals there. Again, not saying go buy my music or my new song just dropped. You're just trying to get people to listen for a second. I think ultimately it's worth saying with a lot of these ideas, the strategy isn't necessarily that this one song or this one video. Oh, Malia's asking a question. Sorry, I missed it. What does UGC stand for? Did I say UGC? I might have. That stands for user generated content. Oh, it's on the screen. I'm looking at notes and I've got the screen and I'm watching the comments. It's one man show's tough. Yeah, UGC means user generated content. You get that that term will get thrown around if you're reading like music marketing blogs or music business blogs. That term you'll see pop up a lot, and it just means what we've become used to in a social media world, that you are going to react and do something with that video. So actually that wasn't in my notes, the UGC thing, but the use this sound if, it's kind of like you can prompt people to like, hey, if you're having an amazing day, you should use this sound to tell people about it. So going back to what I was saying about the strategy is that you're not looking to create one video that does all the heavy lifting of your music marketing. The idea is to think about it more in the lines of how we experience with music. Those of you that are older like me, and radio still exists, but not many people listen to it as much as they used to, at least for music discovery. Back in the day, you would hear a song on radio and be like, here's the new song by so-and-so, and you'd hear it once or twice. You might go, I don't care. And then you'd hear it a couple more times and be like, okay, I kind of see what they're going for. Even if it was a band you already liked. I experienced this many times with bands I like. They got their new single out. I'm like, that's their new single? Then you hear it a few more times, like, all right, I kind of get it. And then you start to hear it more. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of digging this. I'm kind of getting it. I've got the repetition. So radio was perfect at driving that repetition over and over again and forcing people into submission, into liking the music. But in the social world, we've kind of gotten away from that, where we like expect one video drop to just do all of that in one split second of a moment. And that's not what's going to happen. So the idea with all these ideas is that you're just trying to create this consistent repertoire of things that re-engage your fans or potential fans with your song. So they're hearing it. They're hearing the hook. They're hearing that catchy thing. They're attaching it to, like in this one, talked about like attaching it to an emotional visual. Those kind of things help draw people in and make that deeper connection that's required for them to become a fan. And then Malia said, use this sound if you're depressed. My album is kind of dark and heavy. I can concur. It is dark. In fact, I told her one time I was listening, I'm like, I kind of got sad. But that's the vibe of the album. And so some kind of depressing visuals might work. Next up, behind the scenes, fans love the process. I've got a video here that I thought was pretty hilarious. Let me see if oh yeah, this is it right here. I'm going to drop it in. When I was reviewing the notes for this, fans love the process. Oftentimes, I think we give things that are too overproduced in the process. And I felt like this one was like, that I just dropped in the comments was sort of like what on earth is happening? Um, I think this one is a good one to use, in my opinion, or not to forget to use retroactively. Sometimes when fans see behind the process before they've heard the finished product, they have a hard time connecting with it because they don't necessarily know what the intended result is. They're not artists. They're a lot of times fans are not visionaries. They have to be spoon-fed the music and then understand the creation process later and watch the behind the scenes later. So sometimes this content is great after you've done your initial launch. It can be great also when you're leading up to release, but especially this video, I cracked up when I saw it because it's behind the scenes, but it's a very high-pitched vocal happening. And sometimes, fans are like, what is this? But if they already know the song and they've connected with it, that kind of content becomes very intriguing. So when you think about behind the scenes, don't think about this pristine process of like, oh, here's us in the studio, but you're hearing completely finished audio, or you can hear the song. Think about the challenging stuff that might be happening in the creation process of a song that helps build the story of it. A pet peeve of mine is when my band is in the studio and we're tracking something, and I ask somebody, hey, can you get video of us in the process? And we start playing and they start recording, and then we stop playing and then we start talking about parts and trying to figure it out, and they stop recording when we've stopped playing. I'm like, you are recording the least interesting part. The interesting part is when we're discussing, working out a part, talking about the song and the process. So be sure to use those in your music promotion. And behind the scenes, you could do the here's how it started, here's how it's going, and to show both pieces of it. So if there's not that emotional or connection they may have with a song that's already released, they understand where it's going. All right. We've got some more folks joining. Good to see you, Siberiak. If you want to weigh in, let us know where you're watching from. Feel free. And if you've got any questions, or again, if you've got some videos that have worked for you, feel free to drop it in the comments so we all can check it out. All right, next up, lip sync, but have a unique hook. And I think I've got an example of this right here. Yes, I do. So I'm going to drop it in the comments. And here we go. So this is what it sounds like when you mix blank artist and blank artist. Compare your song to popular artists to attract fans. I'm going to open up the link as well because I've got a bunch of these. So I'm going to make. Oh yeah, this is Brittany Kellogg. She's great. If you don't follow her, she does a lot of great social media, and she's done some amazing things to really break her songs. And she's one of the artists that I saw early on doing this repetition on social media that really made me start thinking, you know what, this is like radio. She's replaced radio every day. Typically when she has a new song, I haven't seen recently what she's been up to with some of her more recent releases, but there was a time where every song she released, she would have at least one new video a day with a different variation, whether sitting in the car, just singing along with it, playing on her car stereo, to just sitting in her computer. So it was like, the whole point was the visual was different and she was trying different things. Maybe the execution of the song was different. And she was lip syncing a lot of times. And what it was just a way for people to get that repetition in their feed, to keep hearing that hook. And it worked very, very well for her. Mark said that Charlie Puth has some of the best process videos. I'll have to check it out. I don't think I follow him on social media. All right. So lip sync videos, again, these are one of those things where I think a lot of times artists, we think this can't work. Who wants to see somebody lip sync their own song? And trust me, I'm shocked at how much it works. And then I've mentored some artists in this area, and they've just been utterly resistant to trying this out. I'm like, you know, it's working. I can't help you if you refuse to try what's working. But this, oddly enough, works very well. You can sit like you'll see that Brittany Kellogg sings along with a lot of her songs. I think in that one she was just lip syncing, but sometimes she's just singing over her recorded music with the vocal playing, and she's just singing along, and it works great. All right, next up, Grandma Reacts. Wholesome fun. My mom, dad, grandma reacts to my song. Play the song and record their genuine reaction or stage a funny one. People love the wholesome content. It works especially well if they dance or cry. I think we might have another variation of this in the list, but I think the artist Jake, if you're familiar with him, he's done a lot of these things that are on the list, and I think it's spelt JVK. I don't know. Nobody uses vowels anymore because we're out of them. But he's got a lot of these type of reaction videos. I know that one of them that went crazy viral for him was he went back to his like early piano teacher, and I think when he was a kid and just starting out, and played his song for her, and she just like freaked out. So that video, her reacting to it, was great. Family, this one says grandma, and I said mom or dad. Sometimes family's reaction can be sort of have the opposite effect, where it's kind of like they're not impressed. And that can be just as entertaining as well, or they're confused. I think that's what can be really funny about family members, because they know you a certain way. They don't buy into this artistic image necessarily. They're just, I can tell you that's my family most of the time thinks I'm crazy. And so they're just like rolling their eyes at me, and I'm like, look what I did. And they're like, huh? That's you? I don't get it. What is this? Is this what you do with your day? So even if they're having that kind of reaction, that can be hilarious and worth promoting as well. All right, we got it. I don't think I had a video for that one. Nope. In a similar vein, we have fan reactions. So if you've got a fan base that's built already, and you can ask for reactions, or maybe you do an in-person listening event or something like that, getting their reaction to the song, that can be very powerful. I think oftentimes we think of fans that need to be marketed to and are not participants in the marketing process. And we get people that love our music, and then we don't involve them in the process of like asking for their response, wanting to hear their reaction, and then using that as social media content, because it can be very, very powerful. And so, yeah, you can ask your fans to record the reaction to hearing the song for the first time. You could stitch it together or duet their videos for a reaction loop, which could be fun. There's a lot of things you can do with that. Let's see. What if popular artist sang my song? You could use AI voice filters. We've got a lot of these AI voice filters popping up, or sing your song in the style of a famous artist. There's been videos like this around forever where they're like, if so and so recorded this song, it sound like this. So I think you could both do something fun with AI, or you could just do it yourself, like your variation of an artist recording your music. My band, Small Town Poets, is alternative rock. So if I said, like, if Justin Timberlake sang our song, it'd sound like this. So it's another way to get your song in front of somebody in an interesting connection. People laugh. They're like, oh yeah. And I think what it really does is highlight the song. If you've got a great song, that really stands out in any sort of format. And the Justin Timberlake mentioned comes from, I must confess, I was on some very long flights coming back from Folk Alliance over the weekend, and they had a documentary called Larger Than Life, and it was the story of boy bands. And I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this to make fun of it. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. It went all the way, started with the Beatles. It really jumped in with the Osmonds and the Jackson Five, but then really credited New Edition. So it was like this whole history leading all the way up to the K-pop craze. That was fascinating. And if you like pop music, it was an incredible watch. And I could not believe how much I enjoyed it. Mark left a comment about one of the other things I said about, I mean, a lip sync video is really just a video. Yes, but on social media, it's not done in a official music video high production value necessarily. It's like thinking like, oh, that's something quick and easy I can do. I'll just lip sync my song in this scenario, or creating this sort of visual that goes along with it that might not be a like big thought out theatrical piece like we tend to think about, like a brand piece like we tend to think about official music videos and such like that. Um, let's see. As Siberiak says, as I see it, it's just another reason to make people hearing your song again. When we're listening to legacy radio, we also didn't have a say in what's playing, but they make us listen to the same stuff. Yes, that's you might. I think I said that before you joined in. That's part of the strategy here. That oftentimes we approach releasing a new song and we're like, I got a new song, and we might post the video that we use for the Canvas video in Spotify, or we might have an official music video. And then we run out of ideas. Like, how do I keep getting my song popping up in this feed? So these are just a bunch of ideas. And again, if you've got some ideas or some things that have worked, feel free to share in the comments below. All right. Next up, a challenge. Make a challenge with your song. Example, a dance, a lip sync, using your hook, have people make something related to it. It could just be a music video challenge, but keep it simple so anyone can participate. I've got a YouTube video link here. I'm going to drop in. Here we go. So this was top 5 TikTok dance challenge compilation. So this is like a bunch of dances to a particular track. So you could ask your fans to do something and submit them, and you're going to put it together. And it's just, again, a way to get your fans involved in doing something to your song. So it's fun, it's engaging, and it keeps them, again, listening to your music more. They're thinking about it deeper. It just didn't come down their feed and they swipe past it. Another one similar to something mentioned earlier, but this song is for you if, and then on screen text, this song is for you if you love late night drives, you've been heartbroken, and let the lyrics play in the background. I've seen this work really, really well. Brittany Kellogg, who we've already sent a link in the feed of some of her stuff, she does this a lot. In fact, she tends to cater to the mom crowd because she's a mom. So she writes a lot of songs from that perspective. And so you'll see her say things like, if you're a mom dealing with this, I wrote a song for you. So just helping people identify. Again, we are parsing so much such information these days that just any sort of curation is helpful. I would say one of the biggest issues that we face as musicians and people trying to market it stuff is I feel like curation has really hit rock bottom. In that we're just pounded with so much stuff in our faces all day long, especially if we're online, but even when you're out in the real world, you're getting advertisements, you're getting information constantly. It's hard to know what to pay attention to. And some of these on-screen prompts really help just capture somebody's attention. I remember seeing this for the first time, and someone said, "This song is for you if you're dealing with this." And I can't remember what it was, but I resonated with it in that moment, and the song really matched that, and so I stopped and watched. And what was even better is the song was good. And because I stopped and watched, now my feed's going to have that artist again. So that's the other thing about some of these tactics, is that if you're getting someone to engage and stop and watch, and you're trying this repetition, once they engage, they're going to start seeing more of your promotions coming down their feed in general. Let's see, we got a couple questions here. Let's see. Is TikTok more effective platform these days for these types of short videos? Are Reels and YouTube Shorts good too? I hear a lot of different things. In fact, I saw a story this week. I don't have the data in front of me, but that has said that Reels is exploding again. And it might be because there's still uncertainty around what will happen with TikTok in the US. I know for about a month, TikTok was unavailable for new downloads in like the App Store. It's back. But I saw a story this week that was saying that engagement on Reels is exploding. But I also know that Instagram, because of just their ongoing battle with TikTok, but they've been trying to take advantage of the moment and have been doing tons of tweaks to the algorithms and trying to really get people excited about the platform while they have sort of this moment of, we're not going away, but TikTok might be. So, but I'd always say, first, go to the platform that you naturally engage with, because if part of the issue that a lot of artists have is that they think they have to be on all these platforms. They don't engage on all of them. They don't use all of them. All of them are going to be constantly changing. All of them are going to have their quirks that work and quirks that don't, and the trends that are happening on those platforms based on those things. So engage with the one that you're most interested in. I've heard lots of great things about YouTube Shorts. I've done some experimenting on YouTube Shorts and have not had very much success there, but I know other people that are like, man, once I started using YouTube Shorts, everything was exploding for me. So if you're a YouTuber, you're on YouTube a lot, try it out. A lot of these will work across all these platforms, but I recommend just focusing on the one that you're engaging with. For me, that's been Instagram. I know a lot of people, it's TikTok. There's things I like about Instagram because there's been more of a push back to the regular feed and just regular photos. That was a big disappointment for me years ago when Instagram started moving away from photos, because I have a photography background and I love photos. A good photo. I don't need flashing video in my face to have a moment. And when they moved away from that, it was disappointing. But now they've done a lot of effort to bring more attention back to just the regular feed. So those things, if you're already engaging in a platform, just be aware of what's happening there. But short form video will work on all of them. We have Espani saying Facebook. I don't engage much on Facebook like I used to. So they're all going to have their quirks, but they all have short form video that works well. All right, next one. Day in the life vlog with your song. I've seen this happen a lot with music producers, or this is the day in the life of a professional musician in Nashville, Tennessee. I've seen a bunch of those, and they can be interesting. I think what makes them interesting is when it's not overly produced and trying to paint an overly positive picture. I think it can be funnier if it feels more down to earth. And oh yeah, being a professional musician, at the end of the day, it's a job and it has its sucky points, just like any other job does. So show your morning routine, a studio session or a gig with your track playing. Help associate a vibe or lifestyle with the song. So I think that's where it works a lot. Or you can take the total opposite approach and make it just a total joke. Like, here's the day in the life of a professional musician and just be so blown out of proportion. Obviously not true. Larger than life fake, that people would think it was hilarious. So there's multiple approaches you can take with that. But again, using your song, and it should match the vibe of your song. So that's uh, a with a lot of these, the idea is to connect the visual, emotional elements, um, of to the music itself, so there's a deeper connection quicker. All right, next up, tell a story with subtitles. I had a video. Sorry, for the last one, I had a video for the day in the life. Um, so I'm going to drop that in the comments. I'm going to drop it in my browser so I can remember what it is. Yes, that one says Touring Life Summer Edition. So you can see this is obviously somebody that's doing quite well. And it seems fun and exciting, and sort of what people imagine the life is. I can tell you, the height of my touring life and major label life happened before current social media. And so I've got lots of video of what the reality of touring was like, but most people haven't seen it. But it would be like, here we are again, broken down on the side of the road in the middle of Kansas, waiting for a tow truck. This is, in fact, one of my first trips with Small Town Poets. We were to, I just joined the band and we were playing shows in Florida. This video I made gets referenced all the time. I had my little video camera, and we were parked. Our bus was parked at a parking lot at the beach in California. I mean, not California, in Florida. Like, walked out, you're practically in the sand. And I'm walking around the bus and I'm videoing. I'm like, this is the life of a rock star. And our bass player walks off the bus and looks at me and just rolls his eyes because our bus was a piece of crap with no air conditioning. We're in Florida in the middle of summer. And so just that video itself just really captures those two things. We're like, oh, they're in a bus by the beach. And then the bass player really makes it known that this isn't what you think it is. Those kind of videos can be hilarious and lots of fun. But so tell a story of your track. That's what's on the screen now. Tell a short personal story about why you wrote the song, while it plays in the background. It works well with subtitles, to keep people watching. I would say a lot of these videos, and videos in general, subtitles help people connect visually quickly because their eyes can't help but start reading. And if there's something that happens quickly that grabs their attention in the words, chances are they'll stick around longer, especially if you're telling a story that's interesting. And with all of these, you should be aware that you're not starting at the beginning of the song, especially if you have some big synth buildup before stuff comes in. You should start where there's lyrics. If there's no lyrics, start at an emotional height of the song or the hook. Try different things. They don't have to be the same every time. That artist I mentioned earlier, Brittany Kellogg, when she had a song go crazy viral on TikTok, that was the first person I saw really just clip to the hook and just try a lot of these things. Like, are you this type of person? I wrote a song for you, and right at the hook. Because usually that's where the big emotional moment is. Usually the lyrics are a little bit more broad that connect to the overall themes in the song. And so those are things to think about. All right, next up. Yes, Mark, I have pretty much broken down in every state imaginable. And, you know, again, this is a different world that touring was back then. We had wiffle ball, a whole wiffle ball set, including bases. And I have played very long wiffle ball games in the middle of nowhere. I remember one place in Kansas where, our road manager's dealing with trying to figure out how we're going to get towed. And we're just off in the grass field and 50 miles from anywhere playing wiffle ball for hours and going, yeah, this is our life. We don't know if we're ever leaving this spot. Very different world now. Uh, some things about that I miss, others I don't, because there were times I was wondering, are we ever going to get out of here? Are we just stuck here forever? Because it did feel like that way at times. All right. Up next, we have I wrote this song about keep it intriguing. So we talked about like the story behind the song, and I've mentioned it a couple times. So like the idea of, like I've said, right? I wrote the song about make it intriguing, like the worst breakup of my life or falling in love too fast. Try to make it, this is marketing. You can be hyperbolic and exaggerate. If you're not exaggerating, you're not trying. um, so, you can exaggerate and be over dramatic with it. But the point is to like, don't tell a long drawn out story. You can even like, I wouldn't, I'm not saying read a script either, because sometimes that comes off as a little too contrived, but you might want to jot your thoughts down so you don't ramble, or like, oh, here's the good parts. I'm just going to go bam, 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 and mention those. And then you can edit it down. So it really gets to the point of what the song is about. Also, I think you can, if you make it interesting and the visuals are interesting, you can take 5-6 seconds and say that, and then it popped to the chorus. So there's like, this is about this, boom, and then there's the musical lyrical connection to what the song is about. All right. Let's see. Next up, again, feel free to ask any questions or make comments or drop some videos in that you've done that have worked well, because again, a lot of these platforms are changing so fast. What works now might not work tomorrow. And that's why these a lot of it from this list have been things that I've seen tried and true work over many years and still working now. There's some things that we could put on this list that would be like, yeah, that's just a trend that'll be dead in 2 weeks. And so unless you jumped on that trend, it's probably not going to work. These are more about like, how can I keep posting about my song from interesting angles? Because that's the thing. You're trying to get fans to take different emotional, mental journeys into your song, and just musical connections and how they hear it, and keep it in front of them. And so it doesn't feel stale and boring, like you're posting the same thing over and over again. All right, next up. Hidden meaning, a lyric breakdown. Break down a powerful lyric and explain the meaning behind it. Like, did you catch this double meaning in my song? In fact, there's a songwriter. His name's Dan something. I think it's Dan Wilson. It's the guy that wrote Closing Time, Semisonic, that band. He's actually a very famous songwriter. Most people don't know it. He actually, I think, won a Grammy this year for a song he co-wrote. He's written a lot of songs for other artists that have been hits. But I heard a story recently where he was talking about that song Closing Time. And at face value, it sounds like it's just a song that is about a band closing down a bar at night and basically saying, hey, you got to go home. It's closing time. And it's sort of become an anthem for that. It even had a very big placement on The Office, and I hear it all the time. It's still a completely relevant song. But I heard an interview recently. He was saying with most of his songs, there's a double meaning. And actually, that song was written about the birth of I believe it was his third child. And there's this double meaning going through the whole song. And it was just fascinating to hear him talk about it. And the whole time, I was just like, this is unbelievable. I like this song even more. And what an amazing songwriting trick. And even better, what an amazing storytelling trick. I'm assuming it was true and he didn't make it up after the fact. But he said in all his songwriting, there's typically like this personal thing that he's dealing with, but then this broader context, he sort of sets it in that most people probably will never know the personal story or connection. But I'm like, man, that's an amazing songwriting trick to be able to tell this broader story that made me want to go back and listen to the song even deeper. Because then I was really listening to the lyrics. It wasn't this throwaway song about a band at the end of the night. It was like, dude, this is a song about the birth of his child. That's pretty amazing. So think about that hidden meaning that you may not have known, but this song is really about. You think it's this, but it's this. All right, next up, meme it up. Make your own meme with your song. Overlay your track on a viral meme format or reaction GIF. There's lots of that going around, but I think sometimes it's easy to forget about, hey, you don't have to overthink it. Just grab a meme that's relevant to your song or the experience of your music and put your song over top of it. Something that's being already discussed and shared on the internet. Add your song to it. All right, moving on. Live performance clip. This is something that I've seen pop back up lately. And it can be just your bedroom. Show yourself performing with raw energy. It can be acoustic or full production. Works well if the camera is handheld and intimate. But I would say, let me see that what video we have here. I didn't drop all these in here. This is I'm going to drop this in the comments. This is sort of the video you'd expect. But one of the things I've seen really work with this lately is with bands. Part of my frustration with the current state of a short form video is that it's really challenging for bands because we expect videos like what you're seeing, that link is going to have right there. You're going to see an intimate performance by one person. And you're like, well, I'm a band. It's hard enough in a vertical format to get all of us on screen. So what the heck? How do I even do this? I've seen a lot of this work, and it's like, because there's been this lack of bands on my social feed, when I started seeing it, I really took notice. And I've seen bands performing live, like even outside with fans, like it sounds like a live performance. I think and sometimes I've seen it where it is, sometimes I've seen it where they're playing live, but it's the audio of their track you're hearing over it. I've seen that in all sorts of different scenarios with live bands just performing the song. This could be a concert video, but it feels more like the performance is for the people on social media. You're not a fly on the wall watching a concert from some random location. You're like, this performance is for this video. But I've seen it working great with bands. In fact, as far as bands go, this is the one thing that keeps popping up on my feed that I can say, this is one thing I know that bands are doing that seems to be working because I'm seeing it in their feed. So that's definitely worth trying out. But even, again, this is another thing you can do to promote that song. All right. Next up, what my song would sound like if, and this is more remixes, not like earlier I talked about if an artist did my song and maybe performing it like them, but this doing some remix versions or getting some fans to do some remix versions, or you could get another artist who does remixes, or maybe someone who's famous for it, to do some remixes. And so again, another way to bring people into the song, especially if you got a great song, because I always love hearing a good song that's not dependent on the production. It's just a great song. And when you start hearing it in different formats, it really drives you into the song itself. Because I'm a guitar player, so I'm a sucker for a good guitar sound and a good guitar hook. But if that's really what's driving the song, when you take that away, the song might be like, oh, the song's okay. But when you have a really great song, presenting it in different forms can really bring attachment to it. All right, got a couple more, and then we should have some time for some questions. Amelia said sometimes the remixes are better than the original. Let's see. Mood board. An aesthetic mood board with your song. Show a compilation of cinematic clips that fit your song's vibe. If, for example, if my song was a movie, this would be the trailer. I think you can do this several ways. You could do it where you have where you say, if my song was in this scene, and you can, you got to be careful with what you do with some of these. On social media, you're probably fine, but if you do it on YouTube, you could get flagged for a copyright if you're using, a copyrighted video or a popular video. But using some video, there was something I did for my band once, where I used a tool called Rotor Videos, and I made 3 different videos with the same song, trying to portray it like if it was in a movie. And they had a bunch of clips of like this. The song was kind of this catchy pop song, or it is. You can still hear it. It's called "Middle of a First Love." It's on Spotify, and there was a bunch of clips of this couple going on this date night at a carnival. It was night. It was moody. It was cool. It had lots of lights, and so I made this video, and it looked like it was like a montage scene from a rom-com or something like that. And then I made another video using the same song that was like if they were on a road trip or if they were doing this. So it was like the idea of like, think about creating some sort of cinematic moment, and your song is there to enhance the emotional scene of a movie. You could again use like actual movies that exist, but you just got to be careful about some of the copyright stuff you could run into. But I've seen some of that with AC/DC recently, like the Star Wars, where Darth Vader comes in Rogue One, the movie Rogue One. If you don't know Star Wars, I just lost most of you. But if you know Star Wars, this was amazing. Where Hell's Bells plays, where Darth Vader first emerges from the darkness. And it's like the emotional vibe of this scene drastically changes. And so people had done it with several AC/DC songs. I saw that with a couple other songs. So you could do something like that with your song. And it's like, wow, your song really made the emotions change in this scene by doing that. All right, next up. First time prank. My friends hear my song for the first time, secretly play your track in the car and feel their reaction. This is, again, another reaction video, but this is like maybe get their reaction without them knowing what they're hearing. You're like, oh, I got this new artist you guys got to check out. It could be like, they're like, yes, this is awesome. Who is this? Or it could be like, what is this? Can you hit skip? Some of those, some of that self-deprecating humor can play very well on social media if you roll with it and just have fun with it. Not everything has to just be showering your music with praise, because the life of an artist is a lot of rejection as well. And acknowledging that can add humor and levity to the whole music marketing of your music. All right, next up. This is your sign to stream this song, like an affirmation post, right? Uplifting or emotional text that resonates with people while your song plays. Example, this is your sign to let go of toxic energy and start fresh. This probably isn't the one that you lead with. This is something when you've done some of these ideas that can help reinforce a song idea. But again, this is probably going to have more like quotes on screen that lead into some emotion, that maybe there's a nice serene video of like nature and there's some quotes on it and your song's playing, and it's like, this is your sign to take a moment and have a deep breath, and and your song's playing. So that kind of thing can, again, attach that emotional element to your music that make people, they've experienced something, they felt something, so now they have that feeling attached to your song. All right, last up, ask your audience a direct question. Would you put this in your playlist? Does this sound like a hit? Those kind of things. I think we've got one here for you. Yeah. Here's one that I'm going to drop in. I've seen this lots of places, but like saying, do you guys think this is a hit? Would you put this in this playlist or that playlist? Like kind of asking, I think in these types of situations, you don't necessarily want to ask yes or no questions, because when people ask yes or no questions, it's easy to say no. So I think either or questions of your audience. Would you categorize this song as this or that? Giving them this or that, because that drives engagement. And then also it can give you some good data from your fans, like some reactions, some better understanding of how they perceive your music. I know with artists, a lot of times we have a hard time describing our own music. Uh, and you can kind of put it in that kind of um, frame of like, we're trying to figure out, is this more rock or pop, or is this more, there's so many subgenres these days. I've been writing and recording a lot more electronic music lately, and I listen to some artists in that space, but that's not my world. So people are like, is it synthwave? Is it this? Is it that? It's like, it's electronic music. I don't, there's like a million. Same happens with rock. I know, like, is this shoegaze, or is this alternative, or is this or that? I'm like, we're a rock band. Is that a good answer? So sometimes, it's hard for us to figure out what it is we're doing. So asking that question with the song playing. And so then people are like, everyone loves to give an opinion. They're always the expert of their own opinions. So you're sort of tapping into a different trigger for your fans to engage with something and really think deeply about it. All right. I think that's all I got. Again, if you want to distribute a track, head on over to ReverbNation.com and you can do so. You can distribute just for $1, or if you want the full suite of marketing tools and you get the premium membership, you get unlimited music distribution as a part of that. And it comes with all sorts of tools that you need to help market and promote your music. And is there another slide? Oh, yeah. And don't forget to check out ReverbNation Levels. Head on over to levels.reverbnation.com. And if you think your career is ready to have that extra help, that boost to the next level of your career, fill out that application form. It's quick and easy. It's not something that's going to be super challenging for you. Here's a good question. Siberiak has, does ReverbNation have the option of discovery mode on Spotify? I believe everybody does. I've been using it. I know that usually you have to have a certain amount of data for discovery mode to open up. I don't think it's distribution dependent, distribution service dependent, but they do have to have some data around your song. So if you release a song and it's still, especially under like the 1,000 stream mark, there's not going to be enough data for them to know who's engaging with the track and who to recommend it to. So, but I can definitely find out if I've never heard of it being related to the distribution service you use, but I have heard it being related to the amount of data related to your song. We've got a couple more minutes. If anyone else has any questions, thanks for hanging. I hope that was helpful. Lots of ideas in there. And I would just recommend just try some. Don't overthink them. I think with social media, where we go wrong is we spend way too much time on each idea. Then we post it. It doesn't work. And it feels like a giant waste of time. And I mean, ultimately, if you're going to choose between spending your time writing, recording, and improving your craft as an artist over just feeling like you're just constantly trying to game the social media system, go to writing and recording and improving your craft, because ultimately that's what's going to make you a better artist. That's going to get you excited about what you're doing. You're going to see personal growth. You're going to be excited for making music. And in general, when you're excited about what you're doing, it's infectious and other people want to come along for the ride. I think a lot of artists, they get so bogged down in the marketing process and feel like this isn't what I wanted to do. And it comes across in their lack of enthusiasm and lack of excitement and lack of growth. And, most of the time, fans and people discovering music for the first time, they have no idea what's good or not. They're just basing their opinions off of what other people are saying and doing. So if you're excited, you're going to get people excited. So I think that's most important. And ultimately, I hope that you're excited about making music, writing and recording, regardless of you get 1 million, 10 million, 1 billion streams, or you put it out there and you know what? That one didn't land, at least not for now. But, I've had those experiences where I'm like, but man, I grew so much in the process of making that song, and I expanded my skills. I did things I hadn't done before in the recorded format. And man, I just can't wait to do more. And that infectious excitement, it's infectious, that excitement. People just, they love to follow along with somebody that's excited for what they're doing. So I hope that um, that as you promote your music, you keep that in mind. And we got a question from Mark. Hey, Kevin, do you know offhand if you can create a YouTube short from a segment of an already uploaded video or an on-demand one from a previous live stream? There are some tools that do that. One that I've used is called Opus Pro. I think it's opus.pro. I can't remember. Just Google Opus Pro. That's one that you can just drop in a YouTube link and it can make shorts out of it. Even a YouTube link for a YouTube video you do not own. Sometimes the internet has questionable things happening. You may have noticed, but yes, you can do that. So you can use your own videos. That's what some of the shorts you see on the ReverbNation YouTube page. That's what we've done to create them. And so it makes it much easier oftentimes to just the Opus Pro. One of their things is it tries to find the most viral moments, the most catchy moments from a video. I don't know how it works with just music, but for things like this, it's very good at slicing out good moments that then make good social media content. So there's lots of other services that I'm sure are doing similar things. So check those out. All right. Well, we're at time. Thanks for hanging. Again, I'm Kevin. And Ian says Veed is another one that does it too. So that might be worth checking out. Again, I'm Kevin. Feel free to connect with me on social media. I'm at K Bruner on all the platforms. You can even connect with me on BandLab at K Bruner. And if you want to potentially collaborate on a song. So feel free to do that there. And I will catch you all later. Take it easy.